welcome to AMC Mailbag, the show dedicated to answering your movie-based questions. If you wanted to send one in, do it now at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. We could answer it right here on Mailbag or at AMC Movie Talk Monday through Friday. To answer all of those questions, we have AMC's Editor-in-Chief, Mr. John Kempier.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for another episode of Mailbag. So excited to be doing this on the weekends.
And my name is Maud Garrett, filling in yet again for the wonderful Ashley Mova, and I feel we should get stuck straight into these questions.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. The first one is from Colin McDougall, who writes, "Hello, sons and daughters of AMC. I love the show and you all. My question is about the new Fantastic Four reboot. Everything I know of Fantastic Four is different here, like Sue Storm and the Human Torch, aka Jonny Storm. I think you can see where I'm going with this. Are they not supposed to be bro and sis? While in this reboot, we have Michael B. Jordan, who is a great actor. Are they deviating from the comic book mythology surrounding this? Thoughts?"
Well, this comes up every once in a while, and it's true. Yeah, look, when they announced the Fantastic Four cast, I coined a phrase that seemed to have caught on when I said I wanted Fantastic Four, not the Fantastic Four babies, like the Muppet Babies. But fine, I got over that. And then came the announcement that Michael B. Jordan was going to play Jonny Storm. And look, if it was up to me, if you're getting Michael B. Jordan, who is a terrific actor and a name that is going to be long for a very long time, if you're going to get him as Jonny Storm, I would have then preferred, personally, and I know other people may think differently, but I would have preferred that they gone out and got an African-American actress to play his sister. But instead, they got themselves a white girl to play his sister, and they're saying that they are adopted siblings. Okay, I mean, look, at the core of it, the issue is that they're siblings. Okay, they're siblings. I mean, it's not the way that we're used to them being siblings, but they're still siblings. And what would happen is a lot of people would complain, and this comes up a bunch of times, a lot of people complain about, the Fantastic Four film. Oh, they're not doing, Dr. Doom the way he's done the comic. They're not doing the relationship between Johnny and Sue the way they did in the comic book. Guess what, folks? Captain America Winter Soldier was nothing like the comic book Captain America the Winter Soldier. X-Men Days of Future Past, which is universally loved for good reason. That movie's awesome. Hardly bears any resemblance to the X-Men Days of Future Past comic storyline that we got. All the great, you would point me to the comic book that The Dark Knight Returns is based on. None. It took a lot of liberties. They changed their Joker up. They changed a lot of things up. But the point is they made a magnificent movie. That's what matters. Not sticking religiously to the source material. Because guess what? All the best comic book movies out there, the most beloved comic book movies, are one that took truckloads of liberties with the source material. Truckloads. So here's the thing. The Fantastic Four, the new movie, it's either going to be a great movie or it's going to be a bad movie, whatever. But if it's a great movie, it's not going to be because Jonny Storm and Sue Storm were adopted siblings. And if it's a terrible movie, it will have nothing to do with the fact that Jonny Storm and Sue Storm were adopted siblings as opposed to natural birth siblings. Look, like I said, all other things being equal, it's up to me. All the things being equal, sure, I would have made them natural siblings. I would have made them that they were both born to the same father, same mother. Sure. But it's not important. It's not important. So unless you're willing to throw out all those great beloved comic book movies, because none of them stick wholeheartedly to their source material, unless you're willing to throw all those out too, don't get your knickers in a twist over the fact that, this is different from the comic. It doesn't matter. All that matters is at the end of the day, do they give us a great movie? And ultimately, that's what it's going to be judged by. So let's just wait and see.
And it definitely feels very different from the previous Fantastic Four movies that we've seen.
Which is a good thing.
Yes.
Guess what? The last Fantastic Four movies, they had Jonny Storm and Sue Storm as natural born, same two parent siblings. And look how that movie turned out. Obviously, those movies didn't suck because of that. But I'm just saying, look, hey, they did it the right way, and it turned out to be awful. So clearly that is not the important issue here.
In fairness, though, Jessica Alba is Latino.
Yes.
So technically not even, they're still kind of...
But they still portrayed her as Caucasian.
Oh, they dyed her hair blonde, all right.
Oh, yeah, that was I couldn't tell.
But this is the thing that we're saying. It's like when you kind of do something to try and follow the comic book series, jarringly, you can see it and it stands out like a sore thumb.
Oh, absolutely does.
But it sounds like what you're trying to say a little bit is to take directly from the comic book and how it is in a strip won't translate to movies. Is that why they're borrowing aspects from it and not sticking true?
Well, I mean, one of the things that me and John Schnepp talk about this all the time is that, look, comic books are comic books, movies are movies. They're not one and the same thing, and they're not easily interchangeable. They are different mediums. And so one thing that comes across a great way off the printed page may not necessarily work on a moving motion picture. You know, these are different mediums. And that's why, look, I don't say don't follow the comic book where you can and where it makes sense for you and where it fits into the movie you are making. And look, I also started saying this. When you're making a comic book film, or any film that's based on pre-existing material, your first responsibility is to make the best movie you can. That's your first responsibility. Your first responsibility is not stay true to the book or stay true to the original cartoon or stay true to the original comic book. That's not your first priority. Your first priority is make the best damn movie you can. And if in the process of doing that, you realize, hey, let's take this from the comic and let's change this about the comic to make the best movie that we can. That's what Christopher Nolan did. That's what Bryan Singer did. That's what the Russo brothers did with Captain America Winter Soldier. That's what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy, who takes huge liberties with a comic book. That's what they all did to give us the great movies that they've given us because they've taken liberties and made changes. So instead of getting all upset about they're changing this from the comics, remember, in the case of Fantastic Four, they kept a lot the same in the first one and it didn't help. Just like I don't think deviating is going to hurt this one. Well, look, this movie's going to be good or it's going to suck. But if it sucks, it's going to suck because they made a bad movie, not because they didn't stick closely enough to the comic.
Is the adverse reaction, though, that they're going to ostracize the diehard comic book fans?
Yeah, well, this has been my argument about this. What diehard comic book fans? A couple of months ago, these were the figures, okay? 23,000 people bought a Fantastic Four comic book. Let that sink in for a second. 23,000 people bought a Fantastic Four comic book. That means, and I mentioned this before, that there are more people are going to be watching this episode of AMC Mailbag than bought a Fantastic Four comic book. So when people say, it'll disenfranchise the hardcore fans, 23,000, who cares? Honestly, who cares? We represent 1% of the movie-going audience, less than 1%. If you're making movies and you focus your attention on the smallest minority in your audience, then you are headed for doom. No pun intended.
Oh, yes, it was.
You are headed for total destruction, total failure, and total doom. If the Fantastic Four comic were all that good, more than 23,000 people would be reading it. So there you go.
I think the only kind of other example of this, changing siblings in I think we were mentioning it earlier on AMC Movie Talk, was when they made Wolverine and Sabretooth brothers.
Yes, that was a mistake. That was a horrible, horrible mistake.
I think that's kind of what Colin here is trying to say, that sometimes it doesn't work and sometimes the nerd tears flow.
Yeah, and that was an example of they made a big change from the comics and it didn't work. But sticking with siblings, once again, the original two Fantastic Four films, they kept it the same from the comic books, and it also didn't work. So clearly, whether they keep sibling relationships the same is not going to affect how good or bad the movie is.
All right. We've got a question in from Brendon Wiseman, who says, "Hey AMC, love the show. In a world full of full of overused cliches in movies, which one annoys you the most? Personally, I hate the 'it was all a dream' cliche, and the guy goes to the ex-girlfriend's house only for the new guy to open up the door cliche. Thanks and bring on the filthy."
Yeah, great examples. I mean, how many times, honestly, have we seen either a movie or a television show or whatever where the ex-boyfriend just goes over to talk to the ex-girlfriend and something emotional happens and they hug or they ever have a hug. And as there's an innocent hug, around the back corner comes
a guy in a towel.
The new boyfriend going... And he just sees his new girlfriend hugging her ex-boyfriend and instantly makes, terrible assumptions or whatever. Of course, that's a big cliche. That's a huge one. Here are two ones that I just go, okay, I'm out. As soon as they happen, I'm like, okay, I'm out. One of them is this. This is my number 2 worst one. Is, let's say, you are dating Dennis, right?
Yeah,
this
Dennis.
is in the movie. You and Dennis are dating, right?
Don't look so upset about this, by the way.
But the movie that we're talking about, where this relationship happens, is about me. I'm the hero of the movie. And I fall in love with you, right?
Yeah.
So in any movie that has that setup, tell me a little bit about Dennis's personality.
He's jealous.
And a jerk.
Yes.
He's a big dick.
I kick puppies.
Dennis
I kick them in the face.
face. Somebody's going to make a t-shirt about that. I kick puppies in the face. So in any movie where the main character likes a girl, if that girl's already in a relationship, without a shadow of a doubt, that guy is going to be a douchebag. They're going to make him a huge jerk.
Yeah.
They do it every time. Why? Because if the hero of the movie was trying to steal away the girl from a good guy, then he's the dick. They don't want him to be the dick, so they make the other guy a jerk, which just brings into question your taste in men in the first place, that you're clearly not that bright. You date guys who kick puppies in the face. There obviously is something wrong with you at this point. So, which explains a lot. But
I can think of so many movies that have that.
Yeah, they're all in there. But by far, leaving even that one in the dust, the cliche I hate the worst. And they do it every movie, every show. I don't care. Okay, so here's the new movie.
Yep.
You and I are characters in the movie, right? You're out to dinner one night, and you're having dinner with a couple of friends. And all of a sudden, your cell phone rings. And it's me on the phone.
Yep.
And I pick up the phone, and I'm like, Maud, here, listen. I just found out something that is going to change everything. It's going to shake your world. I hate to do this to you, but it's something you have to know. And you'll say, tell me, what is it?
What is it?
And I'll say, not now, not on the phone. Meet me at 10 p.m. at Dangerous Cliff Peak. And meet me, and that's where I'll tell you.
But I'm on the phone to you right now, and I've already said, sorry to my friends while I'm at dinner. Why don't you just tell me right now while I'm on the phone to you?
Stop being so logical.
Okay.
Hang up the phone and meet me at 10 p.m. Are you and I ever going to meet at 10 p.m.?
Well, you have to now.
What's my fate in this movie?
You're going to die.
I'm going to die. I always scream at the TV, tell him now. It's like, oh my God, you know that thing you've been searching for 20 years? Yes. I just found the solution. What is it? Nah, I'm going to make you wait for 20 more minutes. I'll be at your house in 20 minutes. I'm just going to ride on my motorcycle against traffic on the highway to get there. Clearly that guy's going to die. They always, I've never understood the logic of that. Wait a minute. Why isn't she telling you? Why not? No, not over the phone. I have never had anybody tell me, no, not over the phone. Unless it's like, I don't know, like if I'm breaking up with a girl and I said, look, we got to get together and talk. Why? What is it? We should talk about this. Other than that conversation?
Just as you were about to say, look, it's not worth.
Yes.
You get shot by a sniper in the building.
Yeah, I mean, that cliche in all movies, all TV shows, everything, it's the what I call the hanging message cliche. I have something desperately important to tell you that would wrap up this movie right now, make everything fine, but no, I can't tell you right now. Meet me in 3 weeks
because I have to die.
Because I'm very busy. I have an appointment to die. And you know they're going to die. Anyway, what are some cliches that really stand out to you that you hate?
I actually did a bit of research on this one because I kind of think that unless you really think about it, like when you say those, it's like, yeah, I can think of so many movies where that happens, but I'm going to go a little bit more narrow and do the cliched lines that are overused in movies. I'm actually on a website, theshortlist.com, or shortlist.com, I should say. Here are some of the most popular used words or sentences. Number 1, is that all you got? We've got, he's behind me, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. That's used a million times.
She's gonna blow.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna blow. We've got company. Don't die on me. We can do this the easy way.
Wait a second.
Or the hard
Can
way.
I do something? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Can you go back to number 1? These are all lines used in inappropriate intimacy moments. Go ahead now and read that list again.
Is everyone's mind in the gutter?
Okay, now read the list again.
Is it in there? Are you dirty? Feeling dirty? Well, okay.
Start from the first one again. What's the first one?
Is that all you've got?
Okay. And the next one?
He's behind me, isn't he?
And the next one?
It's gonna blow.
And the next one?
We've got company. Number 5, don't die on me. Number 6, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Number 7, get out of there. Number 8, you just don't get it, do you? Number 9, I could tell you, but I would have to kill you. And number 10, I can't say that on air. You look terrible, basically. Well, there you go.
Oh my God. I'm sorry I did that. I swear I didn't know this list. She did not show me this
He's
list.
behind me, isn't he?
We've got company. Okay. What are we talking about?
That's a
Cliches.
cliches.
In movies. Hey, Dennis, I'm just curious. Like, what are some like huge cliches that you really notice in movies
Need
all
a
the
sip of
time?
water.
Well, on the flip side of your one about the girl that has the jerk boyfriend, you have the single girl who meets a guy that she can't stand because he's a big a-hole. And then later she finds out he's got a heart of gold and he's a good person.
Same as every prostitute in movies. Heart of gold. Ends up heart of gold. There's that Julia... I was going to say Julia Dreyfus. There's that Julia Roberts syndrome.
Pretty woman.
Pretty woman syndrome in the movie. So yeah, that's another good one.
The transformation. That girl looked so ugly until she took off her glasses.
Oh,
but it's about her personality.
She just let her hair down, took off her glasses, and removed the chainmail. And all of a sudden, she's really pretty. Yeah, the hot, ugly girl.
Plenty of cliches there. Moving on with that one. Kevin Crum says, I love the Marvel movies, but I do think they're making character death feel irrelevant. Loki, Nick says... Furry.
Furry.
But I'm going to think you're trying to say Fury here. Just benefit of the doubt.
Nick Furry.
Agent Coleson.
He's the Disney version of it.
He's still furry there. Agent Coleson all have come back from the dead, and them coming back make the impact of their death not mean anything. Do you think Marvel has a problem with this?
Oh, they absolutely have a problem. We kind of touched on this the other week, a slightly different form of the question. Yeah, last week. A little bit of a different form, but it brings up a bigger issue. I mean, let's look at the Marvel films so far. No heroes have died. They've all lived. So Coulson is a big example of that. He was pretty much as dead as you can make him. They bring him back. Loki, twice they've done that. Thor died, he came back. Captain America died, he came back. Nick Fury died, he came back. Pepper Potts was dead. Oh, wait, no, she's not dead. Groot, they just did it for Groot.
Oh, that was
in
cute,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Cute Groot.
Oh, it's very cute Groot. They just needed an excuse to put him in the Baby Groot, the dancing, to the Jackson 5. That was gold, by the way. But still, they've created a thing, and this all goes back to me, and it probably goes back further than this, but for me personally, it goes back to the comic book Superman. When Doomsday killed Superman, and they made such a big deal out of, we are killing Superman. Superman is going to die. And they made such a huge deal out of that. And it was such a big deal. And I mean, I bought the black wrapper one with the, had the arm patch in it and all that kind of stuff, that they were killing Superman. It was the end of an era. Superman, and then, what was it, 1 year later or less than a year later, Superman's back. And I remember when they did that, it fundamentally, for me as a comic book reader, changed everything. It's you pointed this out last work, it's the nerd thing.
The nerd effect. No one ever really dies.
No one ever really dies. And it's like, so honestly, a part of there was a really long stretch of my life where I was a psychotic comic book fan.
I wouldn't pick it.
Yeah, you never would know, right? A little bit of my psychotic comic fandom died that day. When I realized, because now when I was reading comics, I realized there is no dramatic tension anymore. It doesn't matter. This guy is going to live. No matter what peril, danger, even if the bad guy chops off my hero's head, I know there's no threat here. That nothing is in danger, nothing is at risk. He's going to live. He's going to survive. They always do it. And even if you decapitate him, he's coming back. And that, for me, watching Marvel movies, I'm a massive Marvel movie fan. That element of dramatic tension is now gone. You know they live. And all this talk that's been going on lately about, hey, Joss Whedon's going to kill an Avenger. And I think it's Rhodey. I think they're going to kill War Machine. But guess what? Even if they do, it's not going to have emotional impact on me because I know he'll be back. They will find a reason and a way that he comes back, that he never really died, or something happened that brought him back from the dead. More likely that he never really died in the first place. You're just led to believe that he died. They're going to do that. And that is a problem. Until they suck it up and kill one of these people. It doesn't matter if it's Black Widow, if it's Hawkeye, if it's Thor or Captain America, Iron Man, whatever. Until they kill one of these people, we are never going. Here's the thing. I remember watching, like, one of my favorite shows, Sons of Anarchy, right? a lot of characters died in that show. Like a lot of characters died. But I remember, minor spoiler, for those of you who've not watched Sons of Anarchy yet, minor spoiler, okay? So you've been warned. Fast forward 20 seconds, okay? Fast forward now, 20 seconds. When they killed Opie, it let me know no character here is safe. None is safe. Okay, they can come back now. You can come back.
That was only 10 seconds.
But when that character died, you knew nobody in this show is safe. Anybody could die at any time. And I totally believe the leads of the show could die at any time. And that ramped up the thing. One of the things, I used to watch Arrow. I don't watch Arrow anymore, but I thought the first couple of seasons were fantastic. And at the end, at the season finale of season one, the season finale of season one, like the second most important character in the show, who is Arrow's best friend, Tommy, he dies in the series, in the season finale.
Not a spoiler.
Okay. Now, I don't care about as much about that one.
Everyone dies. You die. You die.
But also when that happened, you sit back and you realize crap just got real. Anybody if they could just kill him now, anybody in this show could die. Game of Thrones, man. Game of Thrones, don't get attached to anybody because they dead. They dead real soon. Like just accept they're gonna die. I remember the Red Wedding.
Oh,
Even after all the characters who have died in Game of Thrones, Red Wedding still grabbed me by the throat and totally caught me off guard. Because I know you read the books, Dennis.
No, I haven't read the books.
Oh, you haven't read the books. Do you have the books at home though?
I have one of the books, yeah.
I thought I saw them over there. But I think, for people who are up on the books, they knew what was going to happen. That's fine. But for someone like me, I'd not read the books and the Red Wedding happened. I'm like, what the hell? You just killed like 7 main characters. What it's those shows that their dramatic effect is increased tenfold because they let you know the danger is real for our characters because they could die. And with Marvel right now, that dramatic effect is missing from Marvel and missing bad, and it's their own fault. They like I said, they've gone to the well way too many times on this whole, they're dead. No, they're not really dead. They're dead. No, they're not really dead. They've just done it too many times. I really hope they don't do it. Just don't kill anyone. And just, if you're not going to kill somebody, don't pretend you've killed them anymore. Because now, again, like I said, no tension. It's totally gone.
Sounds like there's also an abuse of trust here.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Once is a nice, it's a nice story hook. Doing it once is a nice, for dramatic effect, okay, for once. Twice even, okay. Once you start doing it to your audience time and time and time and time
the boy
and
that
time
cried
again.
wolf.
Yeah, it's like, oh, look, Captain America just had his legs sawed off.
Did he though?
Either he didn't really, or in 5 minutes he's going to have bionic legs. This is not going to affect the story whatsoever. And so it's taking that out of it. I hope they find a way to put it back. The only way they can put it back, kill somebody.
And we say that with love in our
And we
hearts.
say that with total love, but you got to kill somebody.
So the examples that you've given where they have made Death Final a television shows, do you think it's because this is a movie franchise that has pre-announced sequel after sequel in like a 6-year slate? That's why they can't die, because you already know that the sequels are happening?
Well, let's put it this way too. Let's say...
using Poe Dameron as an example.
Sure. But back to the television example, they've got 16 episodes they got to do this year. The show continues without them, right? But like I said, if you can't kill Thor in the next Avengers movie because Thor Ragnarok has already been announced, right? Fine. Just don't pretend to kill Thor again. Stop. If you can't kill them, don't pretend to kill them. Just stop doing that because you're just making it worse for the next time it happens and taking away even more of the dramatic effect. That's my feelings anyway.
Okay. We've got another question from Georgie. Gochev, I'm going to say. Hey, AMC Movie Talk. Greetings from Bulgaria. I'm a huge fan. I love what you're doing on the show. Do you think after what Dwayne Johnson had to say in his interview about Furious 7 and Shazam concerning Black Adam being a villain at first and then later on becoming the anti-hero, he could actually take Shazam's, aka Captain Marvel's, place in the Justice League as one of the heroes? It seems logical that Warner Brothers would want him for more than one movie when he's currently one of the biggest names in Hollywood. Thanks and keep up the good work.
Well, look, we all assumed right from the beginning that when they announced that, when The Rock came out on Twitter and announced, I'm Black Adam, we all assumed they're not going to use him for one film. They're not just going to do the stereotypical villain of the week thing with him where he shows up in a movie and he's killed at the end of that movie and then he's gone. You get on Dwayne The Rock Johnson, you sign him for multiple films and you use him. I've always thought it very curious. I won't be so kind about it. I always thought it was stupid. That why are you announcing Black Adam and then announcing the casting of The Rock in a movie that at the time was 5 years away? What is the point? Now, then The Rock comes out and makes these statements. He's starting off as a villain, but then he becomes a hero. Or he turns anti-hero, but that just means hero. He's going to become a hero. I don't want my Black Adam as a hero. I don't. But what this question does is it puts it into a different context where what if, I think this is interesting. What if Black Adam is a villain in one of the very soon upcoming DC Cinematic Universe film? Maybe in the first Justice League movie, maybe in a Batman movie, maybe in a Superman movie, whatever. What if The Rock shows up? Because why would you announce The Rock if he's not going to be on screen in 5 years? Yeah. Unless you don't have to wait 5 years to see him. What if they're going to use him in like 2 years? And he's going to be in one of those movies as the villain Black Adam. And what if, taking liberties with the comic, Black Adam learns his lesson and becomes a hero? Because what hero does Black Adam look and is powered awfully like? Shazam. What if Black Adam becomes Shazam? Because one of the things, now think about this. Now I know there are geeks everywhere across the universe crying out in terror, a million voices crying out in terror and then suddenly silenced. But think about this for a second, okay? One of the other things we said is, do we really want to see a theatrical version where it doesn't matter who you get as Shazam, 80% of the movie or 70% of the movie, they're not even going to be on screen because he's going to be Billy Batson. He's going to be this little kid. We don't want that movie with the little kid. So what did they do Shazam a little bit different? Where Shazam does not turn into a little boy. He is just Shazam. What if The Rock and the Black Adam becomes Shazam? The Rock is a villain in an earlier DC film, and then Shazam is not a movie that he is a villain in 2019. It is him. It is his movie in 2019. Look, total break with continuity of the comics, total break with the canon of comics. I totally get it. And I'm not saying this is what they're doing, but that logically makes sense. That fits. That totally fits. The Rock shows up in the first Justice League movie as the villain Black Adam. Something happens to him. He learns a lesson. He has a moral dilemma, and something happens and he turns, which paves the way for him to become Shazam, starring in his own film in 2019. That way we're not waiting 5 years to Rock become, to enter the DC Cinematic Universe. It just fits. I'm not saying that's the way it's going to happen, but I'm saying if it happens, it makes sense. What do you think?
Well, from that, I actually got a visual of The Rock punching Ben Affleck in the face, and I was kind of caught up relishing that. That's kind of cool. I just think that 2019 is just too far away.
Yeah.
Just I think maybe the only reason why Dwayne announced this is because he's so excited and he can't keep a secret. Or he's like, please, can I just tell everyone?
And why would you even sign an actor for a movie that's 5 years away?
That's what I'm not understanding.
They've got to have plans to use him before that.
I agree with that. And how? It makes sense that Black Adam is, the villain that sees the error of his ways and becomes, whether he becomes Shazam or not, I'm not sold on that. I think he will continue to be Black Adam, but like maybe a light grey Adam.
Grey Adam?
This is not so dark anymore.
I'm 50 Shades of Grey Adam. Yeah,
now
picture
I'm picturing.
Now I'm picturing. I don't want to know what you're picturing.
I just think that it's just like, you know what, let's focus on the now. We've got movies coming up soon, in a few weeks, in a few months, and then let's focus on in a few years' time. Yeah. I just think there's just so much. And if we get excited now, that will be burned out by the time it actually comes around. We'll be over it by then.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on that. We've got a question from Michael Don Ramos, who says, hey guys, huge fan of the show here. Are there any certain fans who instantly hate you once you told them that you hate or dislike their favorite movies? Is there a magical way to make these people respect anyone's opinion? Thanks and keep up the great work.
To answer the last part of your question, no, they're hopeless. Those types of people are hopeless. They really, really are. And yes, it happens all the time. I mean, look, we are movie fans, but it's just movies. And all films are subjective. There are films that Dennis loves that I hate. There's films that I love that I'm sure Maud doesn't like at all. And yet it doesn't matter. It's just movies and whether we like a movie. But I am telling you, whenever I mention, for example, I don't know, the prequels.
Oh yeah, you get served.
I have gotten hate mail, like talking about my mother, and any, about, the human race and all this kind of stuff simply because I don't like those movies. I mean, it's really weird to think, but it is the worst part of humanity. I'm not saying it's the worst part of humanity that does like those movies. I'm saying it's the worst part of humanity that will paint your character whether you like or dislike a certain movie. I mean, to me, that's ridiculous.
Yep.
I've had people, when The Dark Knight was a big one. Everybody knows I'm a big fan of The Dark Knight. I talk about that movie a lot. But the year it came out, it didn't get nominated for Best Picture. And that was still a year that they were only nominating 5 films for Best Picture. And I remember I said, it didn't deserve to be nominated for Best Picture.
But
yes, it doesn't matter that we were on the same team and we both love The Dark Knight and we both, yay, Dark Knight, and both telling friends, yes, go out and watch The Dark Knight. Oh, you don't think it should have been nominated for Best Picture? Well, you're a effing blah, 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 blah. And the amount of email I get and stuff like that, it just attracts stuff like that. The fact that I say like Robin, even though a great comic book character, trust me, there are very few people who know the comic book character Robin better than I do. I'm a huge fan of everything Batman when it comes to the comics. But I've repeatedly said, any version of Robin, any of his incarnations, whichever guy was
I was
filling
saying
the
his
role.
Name, by the way.
Yes, the Dick Grayson. Let's just call him Richard to be safe. Okay. So anyway, I think cinematically that theme, the idea that the Batman of this universe would not bring a child into life-threatening situations of fighting crime, nor encourage them to. I don't believe it worked. It works great in the comic book, works great in cartoons. I do not think it fits the cinematic universe. Because I write that, a bunch of people, blah, 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 a bunch of losers are like, you're this and that and the other. It's like, look, it's okay if you disagree with me, but Dragon Ball Z is another one. Man, people don't like it when I talk about how stupid I think Dragon Ball Z is.
I'm a really big fan of the series. So watch this, everyone. Ready? John, what is it? I love this. I want to protect this because this is mine and my love goes into something. Why don't you like this?
Because I don't watch Sesame Street anymore. No, I'm not. It's just to me. It didn't, no, and I would never say something like that. It's just for me. For me, it doesn't work. For me, it's stupid. But that's just to me. That doesn't mean that you should think it's stupid or that you shouldn't like it or whatever. But man, the fact I don't know why people give my opinion such power. Like I don't like this, and suddenly that shakes the core of their. Oh, John said he didn't like it. Well, I've never understood that. I mean, there are even people. To me, look, did I break up with my girlfriend, who is now my wife, when she told me she hadn't watched Star Wars? I might have thought about it, but
give me a second to process that one.
And would I have married her had she not gone on to watch Star Wars and then didn't like Star Wars?
Don't answer that. Just don't answer that question.
I respectfully decided to not answer that question based on the fact that the answer may incriminate me. No, because I know people who don't like Star Wars. Actually, one of my best friends in LA is another film web guy, runs a very high profile movie website and stuff like that, does not like Star Wars. He's still one of my best friends. It doesn't matter. And Star Wars is like the most important films in the world to me of all time. So is there any reasoning with these types of people? No, these people are beyond hope. These are the worst types of humanity there is. The people who can't handle that you like a movie they don't like, or that you dislike a movie that they do. And, we talk in hyperbole. Like sometimes somebody will say to me, I talk to a friend of mine, I really liked 50 Shades of Grey. I say, you're insane. But that's said in fun and in jest and understanding that I know that all film is subjective and you're not really insane because you like it, because it's art and we all have different opinions and that's totally cool. But we don't want to have to say that every single time. We don't want to preface everything we say. You know what I mean. You're crazy for liking that, or you're nuts for not liking that. And we'll talk like that, but it's all meant with the understanding that film is subjective and it doesn't matter if we have different opinions about movies.
So I think the magical way to get around it with our Dragon Ball Z, Kamehameha, instead of blasting him out and then instant transmission, what I do is then say, you know what? We have different taste on this one particular thing, and I disagree with your opinion, but not with you as a person. That's how it's done, people. You disagree with an opinion, not attack a person for having it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I wish more film fans in total would just understand that simple premise.
But it's kind of, it's kind of spawned from passion. Someone loves something so much that if you can't be on that same page with them and share that love, then it's like they're almost upset.
Yeah, and you know what? And honestly, that's why I think I just let it go. Because to me, I think to myself, okay, this person obviously has no social skills. And I get a lot of hate mail because I get on, I get on camera and I give my opinion. And therefore, and no matter how right or popular my opinion is, there are going to be people who disagree with it. And that's cool. I accept that and I understand that. I'm going to be wrong certain percentage of the time. I'm going to be right certain percentage of the time. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But when I get these people who are like, you didn't like Dragon Ball Z or you didn't like the prequels, blah, blah, blah. I mean, all I do, none of it bothers me anymore. It just doesn't, because I've been in this business a long enough time. None of it bothers me. If it did, I wouldn't still be here. And I am. But I at least sit back and go, you know what? As much of a loser as this person is, at least they're passionate about it. Mm-hmm. At least they're passionate about it. So and there's no reason for me to get involved and debate them. I don't answer those people. I don't write back to them. I don't tweet back to them because they clearly have no sense of sense. So there's no having a discussion with them. So there's
it's just blah.
Yeah. So at least I can just sit back. At least I go, well, at least they're passionate. They may not be very smart, but at least they're passionate about it. And that's being passionate is a good thing.
And for all these Star Wars fans that are obsessed with the prequels, let's chat. Talk to me about them because I'll defend them. So just less off him, I can defend them.
I love the pod race. I love the Darth Maul lightsaber duels. So see, I can talk about good things in the prequels. See?
They're not great movies, but they have the reasons
By saying
it.
that, you're about to get some hate mail.
Oh, they're not great movies. Okay. Felicia Morrow writes, what up, AMC people? Quick shout out to John for both his support of gender equity in both movies and the movie industry, and for having so many intelligent, knowledgeable women. Flips my hair.
As soon as I hire one, I'll let you know.
Oh,
no.
Team. She's just thanking you for it. You just threw it away.
Hello, police. I'd like to report a murder. Somebody killed a mood. Yes.
Oh, dear. But with all the
Freudian slip.
the growth in AMC Movie Talk, how does it run? How do you keep it going and growing? What kind of structure do you use? Pull back the curtain and show us how this all works. Love you guys.
Hey, thanks a lot for the question, and thank you. Actually, in all seriousness, thank you so much for the comment on gender equality in our industry. It is disturbing to me still how much inequality there is in our industry, in the web film reporting industry. When I took over the Masters of the Web at Comic-Con every year, no woman had ever been on the panel or had ever been invited to be on the panel.
I was right here.
And the very first year I said, we are putting a woman on this panel because some of the brightest minds in our industry are women in this industry. And we got lucky. We got a great one. We got Jen Yamato as for at the time she was a senior editor of Rotten Tomatoes. Then she was at like one of the senior writers at Deadline. And I can't remember where she is right now, but she just moved on to another position too. Super intelligent, super bright. And then we added more women. And we've had women on the panel every year since because it's important. When we start growing our team, one of the things that was important to me too is that we have gender balance, not just because we got to have balance for the sake of balance. It's just I'm committed to hiring the best people. And at least half the people out there half of the best people out there are women in our industry. And so we hire really great, intelligent, knowledgeable women who know how to communicate, like a Maud Garrett, who I'm really excited is now on our team. So yeah, we have, whether you're talking about Maud or you're talking about Alicia or you're talking about Amy Rose Eisenbach, our hosts are fantastic, and Sinead and Ashley, we have great women, and none of them are on this team because they're women. They're here because they know their stuff and they're incredibly intelligent, and we're lucky to have them. As far as the inner workings of movie talk goes and how AMC Movie News runs, here's a rough breakdown of the structure. And as we grow, I think a year ago we had 5 people, Dennis. Dennis has been with me since the Genesis, but we had maybe 5, 6, 7 people a year ago. Now we're 12, 13, and we're growing. The structures evolve and change. We're in our own space now. So basically how it runs. So I run AMC Movie News. And it's great. And we obviously work for AMC Theaters, but AMC Theaters is just this company that has this such forward-thinking philosophy of we're going to keep our hands off. Because, and I've had the vice president of this company tell me this to my face. He says, people like our stuff because they know we don't tell you what to do. And he's completely right about that. The moment that anybody sniffs that we're just towing a party line or saying what the company wants us to say, our credibility's done. It's absolutely done. And they know that. AMC knows that. So their whole philosophy is we keep our hands off. John is completely in control of everything editorial when it comes to making decisions on staffing, on what content runs, what shows we do, blah, blah, blah. John's in charge of that. And one of the guys at AMC, Justin Gardner, you saw him on our 100 million view party that we did back in December. Justin's actually the guy at AMC who recruited me in, and he is my most trusted confidant when it comes to this stuff. I run basically all of our major decisions through him. I just get, because he's a super smart guy. And then he has to approve any money I spend. Yeah, imagine that. The one thing I don't have complete free reign. I do not have free reign when it comes to the finances. I need a check cut. I got to get AMC to approve it. And Justin's my main thoroughfare on that. He kind of oversees our whole thing. He understands where everything's going. And so he's just a great guy to work with there. So there's me who running. And then under me, you have kind of two different levels. You have talent level and you have production level. On the production side is Dennis Zen. He kind of runs the rest of our staff that oversees production. He's the kind of the guy in charge of figuring out how we're going to shoot stuff, figuring out our production schedules, how this is going to fit with this, and how we're going to get all that kind of stuff out. And then there's Amy Rose Eisenbach, which helps me a lot with deciding what shows we're going to do, dealing with our talent, scheduling, all that type of stuff. And basically, Dennis and Amy Rose are the ones I pull in on every decision that has to be made. Whenever there's a decision to be made, I sit down with Amy Rose and Dennis and get their input. Now, after them is what we are now calling our showrunners, but we're just kind of getting this up and running because we just launched our phase 3 shows. Mm-hmm. And our showrunners are people like John Schnepp, who kind of runs AMC Heroes, and Alicia Malone, who kind of runs AMC Rewind with John Schnepp. We got Christian Harloff, who I've got as the showrunner of Jedi Council. Mm-hmm. Amy Rose, who is also the other person, but she's the showrunner for Coming Soon. And so they have direct responsibilities, although we're kind of working out what those responsibilities are. They have direct responsibilities over their individual shows, and they meet with me and Dennis and Amy Rose regularly to just keep our finger on the pulse of everything. I approve every show that gets done and all that kind of stuff. So, and then we have our talent, who each actually take on different responsibility. We have Maud, who's like Jedi Council. She fills in on Mailbag, and you find her on Movie Talk once in a while. We have just a great team of people that then operate under that. So that's kind of the ins and outs of how AMC Movie Talk functions. I could sit here for like 2 or 3 hours and break out organizational charts and talk like, hey, at 8 o'clock in the morning, this is what happens. At 6 o'clock in the morning, this is what happens. At 4 o'clock, but you don't want to hear all that. So that's basically the structure of how things run over here at AMC Movie News.
When do you sleep?
I get honestly, I get very, very little sleep. I mean, yesterday I was a zombie because that night I got 2 hours of sleep.
I got an email from you at 5:45 in the morning with the notes of the show.
Yes. A lot of people, I actually my workday starts between 5 and 6 a.m. I start for days that I'm doing AMC Movie Talk. That's when we start writing show notes between 5 and 6 a.m. because the show notes have to be out, and at least to Ray, who does all of our show graphics for Movie Talk, he has to have them by 8 o'clock. If he does not have the show notes by 8 o'clock, he can't get those things ready by 10:30 or 11 whenever we shoot the show, right? And so, and if I can't have the show notes finished, I at least have to start sending him. So there are some days that like I'll start late. It's like, oh my gosh, it's 6:30 and I haven't started yet. So like 8 o'clock will come and I'll write Ray, okay, Ray, I'm not done the show notes yet, but here's topic 1 and topic 2. So he can at least get started on things like that, right? So then we come in. We start getting everything else put together in here, and like the rest of the crew is in here by about 10. Like Dennis is here, Ray's here, Jonathan pulls in here right around that time too. We start getting everything together and ready. The talent for the show show up around 10:30. We sit in our seats. They set the lighting, they set the cameras. We check the audio. Start recording usually around 11 o'clock. The show gets finished around 11:45. We then have to save the file, transfer the file, and we have to do whatever post-production work that needs to be done on it. We're fixing the audio, doing a little bit of color correction, whatever. Export that, and then when that's done, we have to upload it, let it process, and hopefully that's a process that's done by around 1 to 1:30. Sometimes it takes up to 2:30. And then we have our second show of the day to shoot. Like yesterday, we had Jedi Council. Mm-hmm. So then we have to do the whole thing again later in the day. So now like it's around 1:30, we're setting up at the other desk, we're setting the lights, setting the camera, setting the mics, getting the talent in place, blah, blah, blah. Then we shoot Jedi Council. And then the whole next thing has to happen again. We save the file, we export the file, we do whatever little color correction, audio correction, make little edits if we needed to on it, export it again, re-upload. Hopefully that's up by that time. And then maybe, if I'm lucky, by 4 o'clock, I can open my email. Oh, wow. And inside my email will be about 500 different issues from different studios and AMC people and our own crew and staff trying to figure all that out. And then maybe I have time to start thinking about what's coming up tomorrow. And then if I don't have meetings or a screening or whatever that I have to do later that night and I actually get to go home, then maybe I'm home by 7 o'clock. I have my laptop and I can continue working till I go to bed. So I am very lucky that I have a very understanding wife who just happens to love my job, and she's very supportive of what I do. Otherwise, I couldn't do what I do. And I have the most incredible team around me. None of this could happen, like I said, without Justin at AMC, without Dennis, without Amy Rose. Just couldn't do it without our incredible team. Like Maud, yesterday was last seconds. Like, hey, I know you didn't plan on this. Can you please come in and do mailbag? And she's like, yep.
Well, no, I was like, I have to check my schedule. You're going to have to
I'm
call
sorry, you
my
had to
people.
move all those things around. I've totally forgot about that. Yes.
The life that I have. Remember that one?
Right.
Hey, I got out of my pajamas today. Things are happening.
Think that she move her and shake her. So that's kind of the inner workings of how and you know what, everybody here, I work hard. I'm just whining, complaining about how hard I work. Everybody here works so hard. Everybody here works so hard. And it's not, and people do everything. We don't have a janitorial staff. We vacuum the rugs ourselves. We take out our own garbage. The guys are just busy trying to demount a 70-inch television off the wall. And, you know, it's just, everybody does what has to be done. This is an incredible team here that we all get behind. We do the job with about 12 people. We do the job that a 40-person crew will do because it's an incredible collection of people that works here that I'm very, very proud of and very happy to be here with them.
Well, Felicia, you wanted a raw behind the scenes and, you know, breakdown, look at it all. There it is. Alberto Callisto writes, awesome show. I've noticed over the past couple of weeks that all of you have been talking about Ryan Reynolds and the Deadpool movie. I just wanted to know why all of a sudden he's become so popular. His track isn't any good whatsoever.
It's his track record.
He hasn't really shown that he can carry a movie as a lead, let alone a big blockbuster like Green Lantern and I think it's R.I.P.D.
I think he meant R.I.P.D.
I do too. Were really bad, and why the Deadpool movie won't be any different. I actually think he's quite overrated. My heart breaks. Sorry, that was me, Maud, not the person writing this, and not very likable. Apparently, I'm not the only one who feels this way. Just look at his critical and box office failure in his career. So I want to know what's with all the love and praise for him, even though his box office poison. Keep up the great work.
He's not box office. This is a classic example, honest, all due respect, Alberto, but this is a classic example of people confusing a bad movie with the actors in it being bad, or the opposite quite often happens. If there's a good movie, they just assume every actor who's in it was really good. I remember, I think Chris Tucker is just horrible. He may be a great stand-up comic.
He was great in The Fifth Element.
You see? No, he wasn't.
Yes,
at least not my point. But everybody will point to The Fifth Element because The Fifth Element's so great. See, he's great. No, he wasn't. Justin Timberlake in The Social Network. He was a one-note character, but everybody lost their flipping minds over Justin Timberlake in The Social Network. He was a one-note character, but because the movie was awesome, it changes the perception of what people in there. Look, we have all said this for a long time. There are many, 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 many problems with the Green Lantern. Ryan Reynolds was absolutely not one of those problems, but you could have had Al Pacino playing the Green Lantern in that movie. You could have had Day-Lewis as the Green Lantern in that movie. You could have had Bradley Cooper as the lead in that movie. You could have had, what you think is one of the best. You could have had Leonardo DiCaprio in that movie.
Waiting for it.
Green Lantern would not have been 1 ounce better. It just wouldn't. It would have been the same script, the same bad story, the same bad executed narrative path. It still would have been, all that would have been the same. All would have been different is you would have had a different guy staying in their suit saying the bad lines. Ryan Reynolds, I thought, elevated that movie. I thought he elevated from a horrible piece of trash to just a bad movie. That's what I think he did. R.I.P.D. There is no act. That movie had Jeff Bridges. Are you telling me that Jeff Bridges isn't a good actor? Is that because you're just saying, right? Ryan Reynolds was in this bad movie. That means he's overrated, not very good. Are you saying that about Jeff Bridges? Really? Academy Award winner Jeff Bridges. Nothing was going to save that movie.
Just make a note that John is disagreeing with your opinion, Alberto, and not you as a person.
No, you are crazy. No, but seriously, I mean, so you had Jeff Bridges in there, an Academy Award winning actor. It doesn't matter who you would have had in that. That movie still would have been as bad. It's a horrible movie. Now, with the Ryan Reynolds situation, I bring this one up all the time. Can he carry a movie? You're damn right he can carry a movie. Let's look at a movie where there was no other actor but him in a box for 90 minutes. And all that was there to carry the movie was strictly his performance, the movie Buried. He was amazing in that. I contend he should have gotten I contend he should have gotten an Academy Award nomination for that movie. When you can have a whole movie in a box and it's nothing but a guy in a box for 90 minutes from different camera angles and that's it, all you have to rely on is his performance. Like Tom Hanks in Castaway. or at least for the first 3/4 of Castaway, when it's nothing but the performance that is going to carry this movie, that's how you see the chops. Tom Hardy, which was just in, hey, Dennis, Locke, thank you. Tom Hardy in Locke, which just, the whole movie's just him in the car. When you put an actor in that type of environment and you see what they're really made of, that's where it comes out. That's where it came out. I thought put him in romantic comedies. I think Just Friends is one of the most tragically underrated, delightful romantic comedies. He did that one with Amy Smart.
That's right.
So good. I think Amy Poehler was in it too, and she played like a Britney Spears type of character. That he was so funny in that. A lot of people badmouth The Proposal, but there's a reason it was a huge box office smash. It's so funny, and he's so great at it. But one of the best examples for me of Ryan Reynolds really carrying a movie, even though he had 3 leading ladies that are all A-list leading ladies at the time. Definitely Maybe. Definitely Maybe is a magnificent little film. You should absolutely check it out if you've not seen it. It's heartwarming. It's great. Basically, the story is this. It's Ryan Reynolds talking to this little girl. It's his daughter. And she doesn't know who her mom is, but it's one of 3 women. And the whole movie revolves around him telling the little girl bedtime stories about each of the 3 women and her trying to figure out which one her mom is. Ryan Reynolds knows. Just watch it. He carries that movie. He's incredible in it. So don't confuse a box office failure or a bad movie because the actor was in it. That means he can't carry it. That's a really bad way of looking at it. Just look at what they can do on their own as themselves. And Ryan Reynolds is for real. He really is. He's a very, very talented dude. And I think Deadpool is going to offer him an opportunity. Take another really bad movie, Blade Trinity. That third Blade movie was just
Jessica Biel.
All kinds of awful with Jessica Biel with the lightsaber bow and arrow. It was just awful. But pretty much universally, the best part about that terrible movie was Ryan Reynolds as Hannibal King. I mean, so he when he's on screen doing his thing, he made it watchable. That Wolverine movie, before he was Deadpool, the merc with the mouth that had his mouth removed, before he had his mouth removed, he was the most watchable part of that movie. He's for real, and I think Deadpool is going to offer him an opportunity to really showcase to a wide geek fan base, because he's got it covered with Barry, Definitely Maybe, the romantic comedies, all that kind of stuff. But I think for a geek thing, I think a full Deadpool movie, doing Deadpool the way Deadpool should be done, I think is going to really put an exclamation point on that for a lot of people.
I think Ryan Reynolds, I'm on his side as well. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's got incredible comedic timing. And I think it's taken away from the fact that he's a very attractive man. Because it's like...
Canadian, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
There it is. But the fact that he is so good looking can distract, from the fact that he is nailing comedy.
That hurt Leo DiCaprio for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Because he's the heartthrob, people didn't take him seriously as an actor. And it took him 2 or 3 movies before finally people smartened up and went, oh, wait a minute, there's more to this guy than just a bit pretty face.
Yeah. So I think he's got that going against him, but I also think he's got a lot of range. We've just, the movie coming up, The Woman in Gold, he's playing a lawyer in it who's very, very stern and serious. And I was watching the trailer going, this is wonderful to see. This is so refreshing. I think he's better suited in comedy. I think he does great jobs as a comedic actor, but he's got a lot of range, more than I gave him credit for. But because he's so good at being a comedic actor, this Deadpool role will be made for him. It is made for him. He is Deadpool. He's the funniest character. The snippet that we saw that was leaked over Comic-Con, some of the best stuff I've seen, those one-liners, and
how he delivered them.
Oh, I can't wait.
What? He was just in a movie a couple of years ago with Denzel Washington in Safe House, which is actually not a bad little action film, and he held his own up against Denzel Washington. He's got a very small movie coming out that I don't think is going to get a big wide release, but with Ben Kingsley, and it's called Selfless. If find the trailer too. We talked about it on Movie Talk.
If you can find the trailer.
If you can find the trailer for Self, it's Self/Less. Look it up, and that looks like a dynamite little movie. Again, expanding on the range of who he is. It's not going to get wide release or anything like that, but I think that's going to show a little bit more what he's got. But I think Deadpool is really going to be it.
Well, there you go. I'm just having a little bit of a Google stalk now on him. Sprung. Well, hopefully, Alberto, after Deadpool, maybe you'll change your mind. But it sounds like he's kind of just set in the way that you don't have to be a fan.
Let's see what happens after Deadpool.
You don't have to like him. That's the best part about the whole world. Last question. It's from Robert Hengel, who writes, so it seems like every day we hear so-and-so on a movie. For example, Tom Hardy for Suicide Squad. Then the next day, they're no longer attached. When a studio comes out and says that an actor will be in their movie, don't they already have them contractually obliged to be in that movie?
Well, there's several levels to that answer. Number one, remember, every time you read on a website that so-and-so has signed up for this movie, remember we talked a little bit ago about the difference between what real confirmed is and fake confirmed. A lot of times it's not been confirmed. Maybe there was an actor that was in talks to play something and some website reports it, and maybe they were in talks at some point, but then it doesn't work out. Then some people will go, well, they were signed up for it. Actually, no, they weren't signed up for it. Just one site was kind of saying maybe they were in talks, maybe it just fell through, whatever, all that kind of stuff. Other times, maybe it is an actor who has signed up, but there might be something in the contract. For instance, I know a lot of times some actors will sign up for something even before they see a script. For example, Chris Pratt signed on for Guardians of the Galaxy before he read the script.
Smart move.
They didn't let the people auditioning know the script or see the script. They were keeping it very much under wraps. So I think a lot of these actors will probably have their agents write into these contracts that, hey, pending approval of the script.
Right.
It's like, yeah, this sounds like a great, like a director will come pitch a movie. The producers, the studio will pitch a movie to an actor and his or her agent. And they say, yeah, this sounds great. This sounds great. Sign me up. But then the agent will go, okay, pending approval of the script. Because that may sound great, but then they may get their hands on the script and go, I have a theory. Only a theory. Can't back this up with anything, okay? This is strictly a theory of mine, all right? I have a feeling that Tom Hardy signed up for Suicide Squad before Will Smith did. And I have a feeling that Will Smith, who is kind of known around Hollywood right now, won't be in a movie if the movie's not about Will Smith. We saw that with Quentin Tarantino. Because remember, he was supposed to be Django Unchained, but because too much of the movie was focused on the other character played by Christoph Waltz that he pulled out. He says, I should be the one that kills the bad guy. I should be, very, very kind of me focused. But hey, whatever. It's a philosophy that's worked from his career. I don't hold that against him. But I have a feeling that any Will Smith movie has to be about Will Smith and his character. Will Smith comes on as playing Deadshot. They finally look at the script and like everything about the script is Deadshot centric. And then Tom Hardy is like, I'm a really hot Hollywood actor right now. I've got Mad Max coming out. I'm going to be Elton John for heaven's sakes. I've got a lot of movies I can do. Do I want to commit myself? Is it right for my career right now to just be a glorified water boy to Will Smith's character in this movie? Is that right for me right now? Probably not. And then he walked. And then, Jake Gyllenhaal got offered it. But this is after that. And he probably looked at it and said, you know what? I've got a lot of buzz right now coming off of Nightcrawler. I got this boxing movie coming out that I think is going to be hit with a lot of people. Southpaw. I'm going to have a lot of options for a lot of different scripts. Do I really want to take up 6 months of my life, sign a multi-film deal to be a glorified water boy to Will Smith's character in a Will Smith movie? Not the right move for my career right now. And he pulls out, or he declines to sign it. So remember, none of this is fact. This is all speculation and theory on my part. Let me be very clear about that. But I am not going to be shocked at all if like 5 years down the road, some deep, intimate, heavy one-on-one interview with Tom Hardy. And I'm not going to be surprised at all if that's what gets revealed. Just a theory, just a theory. And for the record, I am a big Will Smith fan. I like Will Smith movies, and I'm excited that he's playing Deadshot. I'm excited about that. I want to be very, very clear about that. I think he's a better actor than people give him credit for. I think he's also for real. Ali was not a fluke, folks. I think he's great. This is not Will Smith hate. This is just my speculation.
And this is a story all about how my life got turned upside down.
See, in North Philadelphia, born and raised.
I have a theory, and this comes from watching a lot of Entourage, which is kind of a behind-the-scenes look at these negotiations.
The life of Hollywood.
That's it, the agent's part in it. What if a conversation was happening with studio about a potential role and there's hype behind it, this new Suicide Squad, a lot of hype. What if the publicist was like, I'm just going to leak that you had this meeting. I'm going to leak that you are up for this role to get people talking. There's nothing factual about it. Nothing's been signed, but it will build hype and your name will get out there that's attached to this kind of role. Could that be something that's happening?
I think it went a little bit further than that, but I wouldn't put money against that being an issue. Like, hey, Tom Hardy was never really attached to this thing in the first place. I think it was more serious than that, but I think the scenario you're painting probably happens a lot more in this business than a lot of us realize or like to admit. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. That was actually the last question.
Last question.
That was it. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. If you haven't done one yet and you've got a great one, send it in to amcmovietalk@gmail.com. It could be answered right here on Mailbag or on AMC Movie Talk Monday through to Friday. If you haven't liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time to do that. If you want an audio-only version of this show, well, check out the link in the description of this particular video because you can hear us there and not have to look at our beautiful faces. If you want to watch AMC movie, do it this weekend while it's still Sunday. Jump onto amctheatres.com, check out screen times, what's playing, and the closest AMC theatre to you. A big shout out to the guys in the room to make this show possible. Hey, Jonathan. What up, Dennis? Thanks for that one. And also, John, thank you for another great episode of Mailbag. Where can people chat with you?
You guys can follow me on Facebook and on Twitter. And I make a lot of announcements, by the way. If you want to be on the inside track about what's going on AMC movie news and stuff like that, I make a lot of those announcements on my personal social media accounts. So you can follow me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, just at John Campia.
And you can get me at Maud Garrett on various social media sites. And I love to talk nerdy things. And don't forget, Jedi Council episode 3 just came up this week. So we've got a new episode where we were chatting all about new castings, what's in canon, and Star Wars Celebrations just around the corner. Yeah. And I just realized I was speaking to the wrong camera that entire time. But hey, that's the behind the scenes look of AMC. There are 6 cameras in this studio alone. It's kind of impressive. I'm just trying to rectify my failure. Anyway, guys, there'll be more Mailbag next weekend. Catch you then. See ya.